Hi guys, so I'm making a video today on information on manifestation that does not get shared in the manifestation communities, all right? Partly because they don't know, partly because there's a lot of distortion down there. It's been hijacked, and some of the teachers, the commentators on manifestation are just mimicking old teachings that aren't accurate, all right? And this just causes more confusion, more frustration for the entire collective. So I'd like to save people some time with this information. The first thing to realize, and I apologize, I'm on my treadmill, but that's just the way it is. To save some people some time here is to understand that, first of all, creation is complete. Everything that we could ever create from now into the future has already been created, all right? We as human egos do not create reality. When you hear we create our reality, we do, in essence. True self, capital S, higher self is what's responsible for the creation of our realities, okay? Not little personal ego self, right? Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, think about it this way. Infinite intelligence governs manifestation. Infinite intelligence puts the planets in orbit, beats your heart, it can read the trillions of cells in your body right now, it knows your bank account, and it knows what your blood pressure is. Do you think that infinite intelligence is going to give 8 billion egos the ability to be a creator? No, that would be ridiculous, okay? There is a process of purification that goes on our spiritual paths, all right, our awakening journeys, and that's another thing I want to touch on here. There's an entire domain of spirituality within this illusion that has nothing to do with awakening, all right? And it's a circus. It's like a psychic fair. I got that from R.J. Spina, and it's hysterical because that's what it is, a lot of distortion. Everybody, they manifest a cup of coffee or a parking space, and all of a sudden they have a YouTube channel, and they're sharing partial information. Now, while it's true that we are creators, in essence, the higher self, the evolved self, the future self, non-physical, you and me, are creators. But not us as humans, all right? Our responsibility to do is to align with the highest perspective. Our perspective on what is already created is what creates our experience, right? Life is working out for me, and so it is, right? Life is always getting better, and so it is. So we're not actually creating physical things. Otherwise, by now, with all of these teachings and commentators, we'd all be driving Ferraris and living in mansions with the perfect partner. Now, I want to credit Bentinho Massaro, that beautiful brother, I love him so much, with this part of the information I'm going to share, and that is relevance and purpose. When you're creating something consciously, what you're creating needs to serve a purpose, and it's not just to gratify the small self, the ego self. We're moving out of that paradigm. New Earth is about unity consciousness, all right? Our manifestations doesn't mean that you can't experience personal manifestations that are going to make you happy and fulfill you. It doesn't mean that. One thing doesn't mean another. But what it does mean is this is not ego minds, becoming materialist. We're moving into creators, right? Creatorship. We're not becoming materialists. So there are certain parameters around what we can create if it's relevant. It may be relevant for you to manifest a red Ferrari. But if I got my ego involved, now I want a red Ferrari for no reason other than the fact that you had one. Can you see how that would cause a lot of distortion? And can you see, if you based on your own journey, how many times in life have you wanted things really bad that were no good for you? Right? So there's a process, and it's governed by the higher self, which is the fractal aspect of God, of Source. And until we are unified as that, all right, living our lives pure, we don't have creator abilities, right? We're perceiving what's already created. Now, what I wanted to credit Bentinho Massaro for sharing this information was also there is a universal law of confusion, all right? And that's why we don't see mass miracles down here, because the collective consciousness is not prepared for that. And that would be like us saying to the mountain, move, and the mountain moves, right? Because that would be us as awakened beings jamming down the throats of unawakened beings miracles, forcing God upon them. You know, here's a miracle. Now you have to believe, instead of giving them the free will to choose for themselves and honoring every soul's free will choice to come into this awakening and to consciousness by their own free will and choice. So that's why we don't see mass miracles. And the other one was the parameters. The soul, your soul, that is awakening you on this journey, awakening consciousness, right? It has one agenda, and that is progress. That is your evolution. And there are certain lessons, balances, nuances that you chose to learn here, right? That certain manifestations would be a distraction. Let's say early in my awakening, I wanted to manifest my perfect partner. Before I healed, before I did all of this other deep healing work and learned the lessons my soul, I would have been a mess. I wouldn't have been able to focus on my path because I would have been distracted with this love of my life, right? And we are the love of our lives. Not saying that you will manifest a perfect partner either, but it doesn't happen in the way these commentators on YouTube are saying. They're going to manifest your true love in 24 hours and all this stuff. And people buy into it because it's, you know, spiritual. Or so they think. And like I said, there's a whole domain of spirituality. It has nothing to do with awakening. So use these teachings that are distorted or just incomplete to really strengthen your intuition and your discernment, all right? So don't get mad at them. A lot of people just don't know. You know, maybe they manifest a boyfriend, or so they thought. They intuited that the boyfriend was coming, right? As creation is complete, as I already said. And what we do down here is we're literally just vibrating into the reality that already exists, where the boyfriend's there, or the Ferrari, or whatever it is. So you need to have relevance for your journey, purpose behind what your manifestation is. You know, intention, why do you want it? What purpose does it serve? Right? So creation isn't logical, but it is sensical. And it doesn't make sense to give 8 billion lunatics, egos, full creator abilities. Look at what we've done to the planet already as a species. Right? That would be outrageous. Now, I just start to get really passionate because I'm really passionate about this subject. It's just, I'd love for more people to share this information. And then everybody can, if you're listening from your ego, then you're not going to like this. It's going to piss you off, but that's what they say about the truth, right? First it'll piss you off, and then it'll set you free. You can go play in that world all you want, but you will be frustrated. And you will leave empty-handed and upset that life didn't work out the way you wanted it to, because you're not having access to the full, complete teachings, right? So you're not creating anything from your mind, right? Everything is created. And when you hear yourself, the true teachings are talking about capital S. True self, higher self, not little ego self. This self, this personal consciousness, that is going to dissolve. And I love the way Mooji put it. You can think of us as an ice cube, and the higher self, source, God, as a big bowl of warm water, and we're going to dissolve into that. So it's nothing to be upset about. It's just really important that more people have this information. And then you can apply this information to your own journey, and you can verify it for yourself. Because you're going to end up really frustrated in those communities and just really lost. And it could be for years. So I'd like to save you time and frustration and move you on to where you can unify with the higher self and then manifest at will in conjunction, co-creation with the higher self. It's never just us, right? All right, I think that's all I want to share on manifestation. I want to make more of these videos. I hope the treadmill wasn't too distracting. But my birthday's in a couple of days, and for my birthday I wanted to walk 52,000 steps, so I got to get those in now. And I send you so much love, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I'm stumbling over my words now. Feel free to comment. Ask any questions that you'd like. No inbox stuff, because I don't answer them, all right, anymore. I used to, and it just got overwhelming. So lots of love, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye.